At the start of the episode, the Queen declares to the council that the peace meeting was a failure and that they should start preparing for war. She also requests Lord Harlan to list all the names who are going to engage in the war. Before the Queen commands the captain, Princess Magra interrupts her and informs that the Witchfinders won't stand up for her. The Queen responds that the Witchfinders are her army, and they will do what she says. Just then, Tamakti Jun comes forward and declares that the Witchfinders are his people, and they will fight only for him. The Queen is startled upon hearing his voice, but she pretends to be relieved that he is alive. However, Tamakti Jun breaks her charade by revealing that she was the one who wrecked Kanzua, murdering all the people as well as his family. Hearing this, Queen Kane becomes enraged and orders her men to arrest Tamakti Jun, but surprisingly, no one complies. Instead, they declare their support for Tamakti Jun. Furious, Queen Kane asks Magra to persuade the populace, but she also ignores her sister. Following this, Tamakti Jun mentions that the war is unavoidable, and now each person must choose whether to support the false queen or the real queen, Magra. After hearing this, Kane asserts that Magra is fabricating these untrue accusations in an effort to usurp the throne. She also reveals that the number of Witchfinders is much smaller than her army, and orders Captain Gossett to arrest all of them. However, Lord Harlan informs Kane that all of Pence's soldiers have joined Queen Magra. Following this, Tamakti Jun, according to the law, gets ready to eliminate Kane. But Paris intervenes. Paris claims that Kane is pregnant and that the baby should not be punished for the mother's sins. This shocks Kafan, as he learns that the Queen simply used him for her benefit. In the meantime, Magra instructs Captain Gossett to lock her sister in a chamber. Just then, they hear a loud bang and Tamakti Jun informs them that Woodvale has fallen. Meanwhile, the Trivantian army is marching toward the battlefield. Idovas commends Ren's vision for destroying Woodvale with no Trivantian casualties. Meanwhile, Ren requests Idovas to conceal her ability in front of the council, and the latter assures her that he won't do so until it's safe. He also perceives her as his daughter and promises to protect her. In Pensa, Captain Gossett informs everyone that the Tivantian soldiers are moving very quickly and will arrive in 5 days. Haniwa informs them that they have sighted soldiers hidden by Ito Voss. Tamakti Jun then makes the decision to keep their armies in Greenhill Cap and fight from there. Haniwa and Coffin decide to fight as well, but Baba Voss and Magra refuse. Hearing this, Lord Harlan tries to persuade Queen Magra that the opponents are formidable and that they must seize every advantage possible to win the war. However, Baba Voss again refuses them, claiming that his children are not ready to fight. Later, Magra talks with Baba Voss, who asserts that they can't let their children go to war. However, Magra replies that she can't stop them as they're not children anymore. This enraged Baba Voss, and he warns Magra that she will be responsible if something happens to their children. Hearing this, Magra slaps him and tells him that she has done everything she can to avoid the war, but now she has no choice but to win. On the other hand, Ito Voss pays a henchman to have someone killed. Back in Pensa, Coffin approaches Kane and inquires as to why she's still happy. Kane attempts to approach him, but Coffin pushes her away. Kane requests that he kill her if he wants, but Coffin is unable to do so. The cunning lady then tries to manipulate him once more, but he becomes enraged and tells her that he is fed up with her lies. He also tells her that she will die soon after the baby is born, leaving the baby orphaned. In the next scene, Queen Magra delivers a speech to motivate and encourage the Payans to win the war. Soon, Captain Gossett makes a signal, and all of the soldiers make their way out. Meanwhile, Magra instructs her children to look after one another and instructs Baba Voss to return safely. In the meantime, Paris approaches Toad and requests a ride. After a few miles, Paris tells Toad to spend the night there, but she doesn't reveal anything to him. In Pensa, Ito Voss's 2 men kill the kingdom's guard and gain entry. Hearing the commotion, Magra spills some water on the floor and gets ready to fight. As soon as the assassins enter the room, Magra kills one of the men, but the next one pushes her away. At the same time, Lord Harlan arrives and tries to fight the man, telling her to flee. After brutally beating him up, the man stabs Harlan in the stomach. Following this, the man starts choking Magra, but fortunately, she manages to grab a knife and kill him. She then goes to Harlan and immediately calls for help. Elsewhere, Baba Voss and the soldiers arrive at Greenhill Cap and discover that the Trivantes have already arrived. Tamakti Jun inquires about their numbers, and one of the Witchfinders, Ayur, responds that they have over 350 soldiers. On the other side, Ito Voss questions Ren about who she sees, and the latter replies, Baba Voss and hundreds of soldiers. Haniwa and Ren are both depressed, believing that they have to fight each other. Meanwhile, Tamakti Jun advises the soldiers to fight in the trenches, where they will have the advantage. Later, Haniwa decides to approach Ren and try to stop the war by telling her the truth. Soon, Hanua meets up with Ren and reveals that Cain is no longer the queen now. Instead, her mother, Magra, is the queen, but she doesn't want to fight. Hence, Hanua requests Ren to speak with Ito. However, the latter replies that it's too late. As soon as Hanua returns, the Triventions fire their arrows, starting the war. In the next scene, the Pans are seen running back to the gate, with many of them killed due to the arrows. After they enter, they immediately close the gate. Coffin mentions that the Trivantian soldiers are much more than they thought, but Tamakti Jun assures them that they can win. Following this, Baba Voss orders his children to return to Pensa, but Hanua and Coffin claim that they are ready to fight till death. Meanwhile, Ito Voss directs his troops to break down the gate. After hearing this, Tamakti Jun orders his soldiers to take their positions. At the same time, they hear the arrival of the hidden tribe, as well as Bo, Paris, and Toad. Harris informs Baba Voss that she has brought additional soldiers from Valiers and other cities to assist him. In Pensa, Magra asks Cain whose baby she is carrying, to which Cain responds, "Sweet Coffin." When Magra hears this, she becomes enraged and chokes her sister, mentioning that she should have let Tamakti Jun kill her. Cain informs her that the upcoming child will be both her nephew and grandson. However, Magra reveals that she will seize the baby as soon as it is born. Elsewhere, Baba Voss motivates the soldiers by giving an inspirational speech. He mentions that all the tribes have come together to fight for their loved ones and freedom. He also inspires the soldiers to open the gate themselves and welcome them to hell. Soon, the gate opens, and Ren transmits an update to Ito Voss. Wasting no time, Ito Voss orders some of his soldiers to go inside. Just when the first soldier goes to inspect, Baba Voss appears out of nowhere and chops his head off. Soon, Tamakti Jun, Coffin, and the entire army join in on the act. Following that, we see the same boy with vision who trapped Baba Voss in the past. The boy guides the soldiers with the crossbow and kills several Pans. Soon after, Baba Voss cuts a rope, causing the dozer carrier to swipe the enemies away. This enraged Ito Voss, and he orders his soldiers to launch a full-fledged attack. After some time, Baba Voss and Tamakti Jun spill the oil on the trenches, while Ito Voss and Ren move ahead by killing the soldiers. Meanwhile, Hanua aims her target at Ito Voss, but Ren gets in the way, causing her to reconsider. Meanwhile, Baba Voss lights a fire, which quickly spreads to the trenches. He then summons Tamakti Jun, and the two escape the explosion, which kills several Triventions. On the other hand, Ito Voss is also able to save himself and Ren from the fire. Following this, Ito Voss orders the crossbow head forward, and the soldiers, guided by the boy, kill several Pans. When Coffin notices this, he leaps to the boy and drags him down. A few moments later, Toad is stabbed to death. In the next scene, Baba Voss and his team make it to the ice surface. There, he pulls a rope, which is tied to a massive rock, and at the same time, he alerts Bo to alert their group. With this, he pulls the rope, causing the rock to fall and shatter the ice. While many of his soldiers use the rope to escape, Baba Voss is trapped. Fortunately, he somehow manages to get to safety. On the other hand, Ito Voss also survives the ice, but he can only watch Ren drown in the freezing water. However, after he leaves the place devastated, Ren emerges from the water and swims to safety. Meanwhile, Hanua approaches her father and declares that they have won. After this, she starts searching for Paris, and just then, she comes across Ren and takes her with her. Later, Baba Voss comes head-to-head with Ito Voss on the bridge. Baba Voss tells his brother to leave because the war is over, but Ito replies that it will only be over with Baba's death. Following this, the brothers discard their swords and start tussling fair and square. After a long fight, Baba Voss gains the upper hand, and as a result, Ito grabs a sword. Fortunately, Baba Voss quickly counters and locks his brother with his legs. He then reveals to Ito that their father couldn't force him to kill his little brother, and neither can he. Saying this much, he lets Ito walk away. However, just as Baba Voss turns back, his brother attacks him from behind, and Baba Voss reluctantly stabs him in self-defense. Devastated, he quickly checks on his brother and asks why he did so, to which Ito responds that he was not going home after losing the war. Ito claims that they are warriors who were born to die in battle. After this, he passes away in Baba Voss' arms, making the latter break down in tears. Meanwhile, Hanua and Ren say their final goodbyes. Following this, they all return to Pensa, where Magra reunites with her family. Later that night, Baba Voss and Magra are having some private time together when Baba Voss tells her that he doesn't belong there. The following day, Queen Magra expresses her gratitude to all the soldiers and promotes Tamakti Jun to the rank of High General. Tamakti Jun claims that the soldiers will not be forced to do anything against their will, and that anyone who feels this way is free to leave. Following this, General Ferric informs Tamakti-jun that his rule will not be upheld, and several soldiers depart. Later, Lord Harlan approaches Baba Voss and tries to convince him to stay. He offers Baba the position of a paying soldier, but the latter declines and leaves. In the next scene, Alaman successfully prepares a bomb and demonstrates it to Ito's scientist by blowing up small huts. In Pensa, while everyone is sleeping, Baba Voss gives a goodbye kiss to his wife and children and leaves the place. Later, Paris visits Kane to check on her pain and assures her that her baby is fine. Just then, Kane takes out a blade and slits Paris' throat, killing her. The series ends as Kane mentions that she will kill anyone who will try to take her child away. Subscribe and hit that like button to help grow our channel. And don't forget to click the notification icon so you won't miss any of our new videos. Thanks for watching.